Howdy, y'alls. Welcome back. This is Dr. Edwards, and this is my little overview video for Module 6, uh, Doctors with Borders, Ethics of Diverse Medical Treatment and Care. Now, this is a real intriguing area for me, particularly as an anthropologist. But before I dive into my craziness, let's start with making sure we're all on the same page about what kind of a key term that we use to describe um, local health practices, health care across a cultural spectrum, right? We often refer to it as ethnomedicine, all right? And the key here is ethno is really a shortened form of ethnicity. We're looking at different forms of healthcare across different ethnic groups. And it should be really clear from the get-go that, well, ethnicity, it's a social construct, all right? And it's unlike race, right? Race, it tends to be really subjective. Ethnicity tends to be what a person identifies as, all right? And it's usually based on a particular culture, subculture, that unique group's history, possibly heredity, genealogy, religion, beliefs, language. These are all things that can help, or they're things that a person can identify with and define themselves as X ethnicity. All right. Now, along with that, we also have social class. And, well, I can't get into a giant lecture about social class. Let me just try to give a few kind of quick, insightful words about it. When we talk about social class, this is really reflecting that there is stratification within a society, within a group, all right? And that stratification really reflects those that have different opportunities and privileges, okay? And those different opportunities and privileges tend to be directly related to things that we call ascribed and achieved status within that group. So here in the U.S., it's a good country to use. We talk about upper class, upper middle class, lower class, working class, right? And think of these as levels, all right? And that each level will have certain opportunities afforded to it. Now, this goes in the face of often what we say in our country that, all are equal, all right? Because we're not. I'm not saying that I agree with it. I'm just saying that that is inherent to our society. Social inequality, social stratification is fundamental to it. All right, not everyone has the same opportunities or privileges. I'm a white educated male. I have a ton of privileges and opportunities that are afforded to me. I was born from a middle class family. My folks went to college. I went to college. But depending on where you're born, where you're born and who you're born to, that might really influence your opportunities in life. Okay. That's often what we call ascribed status, that you are born with X. Now, achieved status is what you achieve, and that's only if the society has social mobility that allows you to move from one social ranking to another social ranking, and that might be we often think of it going up, right? That if you're in a low social class, that you want to move up to a higher social class. However, always keep in mind that you can be in an upper class and go down as well. So there's upward mobility and downward mobility. Now, some societies don't really allow that. Some societies, you are literally fixed in a particular social class for life. Indian caste system is a good example of this. Based on religious doctrine, religious belief, you have various social castes. And once born into a caste, you are fixed into that caste it has very little mobility associated with it. Now, like, oh, that's all well and good. So what does this have to do with ethnomedicine? Well, when we look at ethnomedicine, we're really looking at different healthcare systems, and all healthcare is really based on different value sets. Depending on who you are, where you're from, what you believe in, has a direct influence on how you perceive health and care of your health. So in our readings this week, you get a good example about Mexican Americans and issues of folk medicine. That's another term that's often used: ethnomedicine, folk medicine. It gives several examples about folk remedies that are used by Mexican Americans that have some negative consequences that actually negatively impact health because they have lead in them. And it's actually kind of interesting. Lead has been used in medicine for a really long time across all sorts of different cultures. So don't think that this is just unique to Mexican Americans, right? Because the illness of, I don't speak Spanish, so bear with me, okay? Empacho, I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that right. Not really important, right? You can read the article. But there are two folk remedies, one called Greta and the other called Azarcon. Again, not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but again, you can see it in the article. And that these folk remedies have lead in them, and it has negative impacts on those that take it. Now, I gotta give a little critique to the article, Ethnicity in Healthcare, that this is really placing a Western medical model above a traditional medical model, right? That's an inherent bias to the article. And the author talks about that a little bit, but not at a very deep level. But I think it's important to note, all right? Moving on. We'll see what else we got here. We have some reading on the Affordable Care Act. Oof. Not an easy thing, depending on your political position and your economic position. This may have be a real contentious issue for many of us. I know from where I stand, my own position, that the Affordable Care Act has more benefits than negative impacts to my life. But that's relative to me, okay? And so that's not the focus of the article at all. The focus is looking at alternative and healthcare practices, things like acupuncture, meditation, massage therapy, homeopathic therapy. There's a clause in the Affordable Care Act that says that these things can't be biased against, that the insurance companies have to give them fair standing, equal standing with formal medical institutions, like your doctor's office or Western medical doctor, right? So yeah, this article kind of highlights that there are a couple of states that are having some issues in negotiating that. I live in Oregon, which tends to be fairly open. You can get reimbursed for acupuncture. All of that is coverable under the Affordable Act where I live, but it may not be where you are. And with the current political situation, all that may be changing really soon. Anyway, I'm not going to go into that anymore, but definitely a good quick read. And, if you don't know much about the Affordable Care Act, it actually gives you some good information for it. Again, moving on, because ethnomedicine is a personal research interest for me, I want to take some time and give you probably more of an in-depth exploration than you ever wanted, but hopefully it'll help kind of show uh, difference, all right? A different medical model, a different healthcare model than many of you are probably familiar with. Give you a quick little background. I've worked in Mali for many years. I was My primary interest was how people used wildlife, but that ended up opening up quite the rabbit hole because wildlife is used extensively in traditional medicine. And there are markets, and I've shown you some stuff about this before, where all sorts of different wildlife species and botanicals are sold as ingredients to traditional medicine. I'll give you some examples here. Got my research grab bag. Here we have some pieces of animal hide. This is striped hyena. This is a piece of lion. Here's another piece of lion. This is a piece of common dike-deer. It's a type of pygmy antelope. And here's another chunk of striped hyena. Now, in our Western medical model, wildlife, right, chunks, pieces of wildlife are not used in our medicine, right? We might derive various chemical compounds from things like, I don't know, a pufferfish, right? They use pufferfish toxin and anesthesia, if I remember correctly. But this is different. This is using chunks, pieces, parts, right? And you end up making, again, give me a sec here, pull out some examples. All of this is medicine, all right, from Mali. And all this is medicine that I actually made. All of them do different things. Now, it's important to understand that the way people define health, right, is not necessarily the same. It's not a universal, right? Different groups do it differently. And so this is where we need to apply our cultural relativity. You can't use your Western medical model to judge other practices. You could get into the actual medical applications, and that's something else. But we're really kind of talking about belief and values here. And in Mali, they place a lot of value in divination. All right, divination is a means of finding answers, and it usually starts if you have a problem. All right, you go to a practitioner and you're like, I got a problem with my brother-in-law. Okay, he's not nice. He's mean. He treats me poorly. Makes fun of me. Whatever. And the practitioner would then perform a divination ritual, and through that would identify more specific issues within the general problem. Right? Some of those issues might be physical. Right? They might be what we would consider medical, such as, you have a vitamin D deficiency. Right? They wouldn't say that, but they could say you're spending too much time inside. That actually might be a statement that someone is not contributing to the welfare of their family or their group. So that might be a reason why the brother-in-law has some, strong feelings against you. More than that, in the divination ritual, it'll identify how to rectify the situation. All right. In the case of the evil brother-in-law, it might call for a curse, and this is considered medicine there. All right. In fact, there's a term. It's called Fura, F-U-R-A. And Fura includes everything from, here, I'll give you an example. This little funky guy. This is a warthog tusk, right? And in the warthog tusk is, show you another one, it's hollow, right? And inside that hole, in this one, it's stuffed with a bunch of different parts of snake bits of a bunch of different types of snakes. This outer covering here, this is, let's see here, is that's rock python. And there's an interesting kind of local story that the warthog is special because it can speak to all the different animals. And this piece of medicine is to help protect me from all the different venomous snakes in Mali. All right. I end up working with a lot of them when I go out with hunters and stuff. So this was made for me. Well, I made this. It was part of my training, but I was trained how to make this by a traditional practitioner. I've mentioned them before in my work. Now, I know that this can seem very different than what many of you all might be used to. For many of you all, you might just write this off as nah, that's just that doesn't work. That's silly, all right? And this is where we need to be careful, because while we may all have our own individual, healthcare values, all right, it's not appropriate for us to use our particular medical models to judge other medical models. I tend to suggest taking the perspective that they are just different, right? Yeah. I'm trying to think here. Yeah, well, here's a good one. This ugly pouch. Many people would call this a fetish. But in Mali, it's referred to as medicine. And this piece of medicine is designed to make me the best anthropologist I can be. That's how specific Malian medicine can be, all right? And I'm not going to go through everything that went into making this, but what's really cool is that the local pharmacopoeia is literally designed for you to use to address any problem, right? That's how healthcare is defined in Mali, really. It's about well-being. And well-being is beyond the physical. It includes the psychological, the emotional, the economic, the political. The guy that I work with, one of my primary consultants, his name's Kara, he actually gets hired by politicians to make medicine to help them win their elections, right? Or to subvert other politicians. He's a heavy hitter when it comes to that. Everybody wants him because he makes good medicine. But that gives you an idea that political medicine, right? We don't consider that in our Western medical model, right? Politics is completely separate from healthcare, well, supposedly. When you go to the hospital, they're not asking you your political views, right? You're not getting medicine for a political agenda. In Mali, it's completely different, right? You can get medicine for a political agenda. So I hope that helps. At least it should give you some wider ideas of ethnomedicine and how another group, another culture, another society may approach that. And also our own ethnocentrism, right? That we should not use our standards, all right, our medical standards, our cultural standards, to assess the values and practices of others, all right? And this is where anthropology really is a huge asset in medical anthropology, right? Because we have the skills to check bias, right, and to see ethnocentrism, and help translate, help interpret. I have several friends that's what they've specialized in. They focus on working with various communities and their unique healthcare needs. All right. One of my friends works with the Hmong immigrant community in California, I think, and they make use of both traditional medicine and Western medicine simultaneously, but they use it for different things. Same's true in Mali. And in fact, there's not just traditional medicine there. There's also Islamic medicine and Western medicine. So three kind of healthcare models that all coexist together, and individuals readily switch back and forth between things as they see fit. So yeah, I'll stop because I'll just keep going on and on and on and on about ethnomedicine. But hopefully this is giving you a little extra insight, and will help you with your coursework this week. I'm going to make another video specifically about those to help you out. So check those out too.